Okay, so this is our assignment 2 tutorial. Just to get started, I'll give you some background. I mean, this assignment is a part of the so-called business intelligence and decision support systems module. Okay. Now, if you remember when we talked about business intelligence, we started our discussion with this overall generic BI architecture. Okay. And this generic BI architecture has many items, has many components, but one of those components is data sourcing. Okay, so basically, to make it simple, to phrase it in a simple language, before data is used as a part of any kind of business intelligence initiative or application, it needs to be obtained from somewhere, right? It needs to be sourced. And it's interesting that a lot of the times, when people teach data science, they give those artificial conditions for data sourcing. For example, in this course, we're using this green textbook that contains cases in Microsoft Excel and Access, and this textbook comes with neatly organized data sets. Okay, in reality, unfortunately, sourcing data is a very challenging task because data cannot be found in that pure, tidy form. Okay, typically you need to struggle to obtain tidy data set for your analysis, and sometimes, to a great disappointment, you discover that you spend, let's say, a month trying to retrieve data. And the more you look at it, the more you understand that it's not usable, right? There are just too many missing points and you have to discard it, right? To share my own experience, when I started working on my dissertation, I got a hold of a messy data set that contained something like 3,500 data points. It's a huge data set, and I think I'm set for life, meaning I can do so many things with this data set. And I was very excited that I got it because it was actually coming from a well-known IT research firm, so I thought they did a great job collecting this data. And I won't have to worry about collecting data anymore, because if you're working on your dissertation, sometimes you spend 1 year just collecting data, right? So I thought I was way ahead, that everything was good. When I started looking at this data, I got very disappointed, right? First of all, for my first research question, out of 3,500, only around 700 data points were usable, right? And for my most important research question, I could only obtain a sample of 90 out of 3,500. Everything else had to be discarded because there was a lot of missing data, right? So it's a very messy, it's a very creative, very complicated sometimes, and frustrating process to source data for your business intelligence system. Okay, so that's where we're coming from, and that's what we're gonna do as a part of assignment 2. We'll try to source data, we'll try to tidy it up, and then we'll try to do some analysis based on that data. Okay, so this is how it's related to our theoretical discussion. Now, when it comes to the assignment itself, you need to download it from Canvas, and probably my interface may look a bit different from your interface because I don't have a student account. But the assignment is under this Introduction to Business Intelligence module, so you click it here. And this is the file that you need. So all the instructions and all of your responses need to be added to this file. Okay? So let me open this file. By the way, you can follow along, and maybe as I explain those markers, you can start entering your data. In fact, I'm hoping that you can get partially, this assignment can be partially completed today. Maybe you can obtain the data set and tidy it up a little bit today. Okay, so this is individual assignment 2. Please insert your section number. So this section is 01, right? Also, please insert your name and your student ID or M number. Now, the reason I'm doing it, let's say if I lose your assignment somehow, right? If I save it to my hard drive and I save it when I grade it, right? Whenever I download your file, I save it to my computer for grading purposes. So if something happens, if I lose it, I can quickly, you can give me your name or student ID, and I can quickly search my hard drive and find your assignment. Okay? If you don't do it, then there's a small chance that I may lose your assignment somehow. Okay? Doesn't take too long. Just do this. Now look at the instructions. I'm sorry if it sounds threatening, like I'm trying to threaten you, but I may give you a penalty for not following those instructions, up to 100 points, which means I don't give any points at all, right? Typically, 100 points penalty is given to those who plagiarize or share assignment with their friend, right? So if I see somebody submitted identical assignments or very similar assignments, and some people they're smart, I guess, in quotes, they take their friend's assignment, they kind of change it a little bit. But if I believe that it's just too unlikely that you did it independently with so much similarity to your friend's assignment, I'll give you a 0. If you don't like it, we have this ethics commission here at the university level, so we can bring that case to them and they will decide whether I'm right or wrong. Okay, I'm okay. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, don't challenge my decision. I mean, it's fine. If you don't like it, if you think that I'm wrong, then let's bring it to this ethics committee and they will decide what to do with it. Okay, so instructions. First of all, use this document as a template for your response. Some assignments in this class will not require you to use this as a template because they're like purely based on delivering an IT artifact, let's say a database, right? But this particular assignment and many other assignments, they require you to use this file as a template. What I mean by that, don't delete anything. Just insert your name here, don't delete the instructions. The reason I'm asking you not to delete the instructions, if you violate a particular item, I will just kind of highlight it somehow. I will do something like this. I will insert a comment. So I'll put like this, something like this, saying like exclamation mark, you didn't follow this particular direction, okay? And what I mean by using this document as your template, again, don't delete anything. There are those questions, just type your questions in here and then save this file and submit it like this, okay? So don't create like a separate document for this assignment. Also, please do me a favor, maybe it's too, maybe I'm trying to be too organized, but please name your file in a particular way. Don't just name it assignment 1 because again, I may get lost a little bit if 30 people submit assignment 1 and the file has all files have the same name, right? So save it using this convention: your student ID, first name, last name, section number, semester, year, and that leave it assignment 2 like this. Okay. Now, if you save this file, look, when you go to File, Save As, let's say I'm saving it to my desktop. It already has this template, so just insert your own identification points here. Like here, your ID. Your name is, first name is John, last name is Smith, section number 01, semester year is fall 2016, okay? So please save it like that. Again, I need it for improving storage efficiency. Again, I can quickly locate your file, by your student ID. Also, sometimes I need to store student work because I need to do something in relation to accreditation, like assurance of learning. So that would be a great help if you do that. Number 3, very important. Friends, please submit the assignment using Canvas before the specified deadline. Now, the deadline for this assignment September 8th, right? It's after the long weekend, but I prefer you do it this week so that you can have a worry-free week, a long weekend. You can do whatever you like to do without worrying about this assignment. I think it's very doable, very very doable this week. Okay, so submit it using Canvas. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know how it looks from your side because you have student interface, but you know what I'm talking about. You need to save this file and then you need to attach it as a submission, right? You've done that probably before many times, okay? That's what I'm saying. I mean, if it's not submitted using Canvas, it's not submitted. Let's agree to this rule. Because some students, I don't know why, like, they'll print it out or something and put it under my door, and then, I don't have it in Canvas, and then I start asking, like, where's your assignment? They say, well, remember, 3 years ago, I put it under your door. I said, well, I'm sorry, I don't remember, like, what was under my door 3 years ago, right? So if it's in Canvas, I can always go back to it. I can always grade it. And it's also about efficiency. I don't want, like, to, process assignments using multiple channels. What I do, I wait for the deadline, and then right after the deadline, I sit down and I just grade everything as a batch, right? It really saves a lot of time that way, and you get your grade faster, okay? So only through Canvas, please. Again, if you don't submit it properly, you know what some people do, and again, sorry if it sounds like I'm trying to accuse people of doing, bad things, but what they do, before the deadline, they realize they cannot complete the assignment, so they send me some kind of empty file, they submit some kind of empty file, or some kind of corrupt zip file, and then, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you cannot open the zip file. I'll resubmit it later, right? So I don't know, maybe I'll give people benefit of a doubt first time, but if they keep doing those things, I'll say, look, you need to do something with your zip files or your computer because you keep submitting empty zip folders, claiming that it was on-time submission. So please don't do that. Please submit everything on time. Make sure everything can be opened so that I don't get this blank Word or corrupt zip file submission. At the end of the day, this is how I'll count. If it's not opening, if I cannot download it, it's not submitted. It doesn't count. I may reuse this rule. It doesn't count as being submitted on time. No cheating, please. This is something you can get a 0 for, unfortunately. This is an individual assignment. I mean, I cannot block your communication with your peers in class, but please understand this is your own individual work. I mean, you cannot collaborate. You cannot have half of the assignment done by you and the other half done by your friend. Okay, it's an individual assignment. Also, there's a built-in punishment. You know, your exam will be based on those assignments. I mean, your exams in general are based on those assignments, right? So if you don't do assignments, if you find like a way to somehow, share work with somebody, or if you hire somebody to do this work, I don't know whether it happens or not. Sometimes I suspect it happens, although I cannot prove it. Well, anyways, if you don't do it, you're not going to do well on the exam, right? So it's in your best interest to do it on your own and do a good job on those assignments. I've seen this before. Like I've seen people like submitting assignments, like they get A, then F, exam F, then A, exam F again, right? So that kind of tells me they have no clue what the assignments were about. Somehow they submitted something that was not their work, right? Again, don't use things from the internet. It's related to plagiarism, but it's also related. I mean, you cannot find the answer to this assignment on the internet, right? So if you find something that is somehow marginally related and you paste it into this document, most likely you're not going to get any credit for it anyway. So there's no point in copying something from the internet. So again, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm suspecting that you will cheat. Maybe nobody will cheat here, but I'm just letting you know that this is something very serious. You can get on the first the first time you're caught, you'll get 0 for this assignment, and then in accordance with MSU integrity policy, there are like other actions, like you can get 0 for the entire class, or F for the entire class, and the third offense can lead to a dismissal, right? And again, sorry again if it sounds like I'm trying to threaten you, but you know what happens in reality? I've seen it many times. Like if a faculty catches somebody cheating, they will usually email to everybody in the department saying, I caught this guy cheating. Did you ever catch him cheating in your class? And people say, oh yeah, I caught him before. So they will say, okay, there's already 3 offenses that we have this semester, right? Okay, so this is those are the instructions. So please follow those instructions. Now, with respect to assignment itself, let's go through those steps. The first thing you need to do, you need to read the tidy data paper by Hedley Wickham. Okay, last time I gave you printouts, and I think most of you already read at least the first part. Okay, so the first question requires you to list and briefly discuss the tidy data criteria. Okay, those tidy data criteria can be found in the paper. List means not only you tell us the name of those criteria, the names of those criteria, but you also briefly explain what it means, right? So that's the first question. Again, you can do it today in class. Now, the second question is a bit complicated. I mean, meaning it requires some work. So that's what you need to do. You need to source real estate data for Murray, Kentucky, using one of those real estate websites. For example, it can be Trulia or Zillow.com. Those are like 2 well-known real estate websites. Now, if you search for real estate listings through those websites, most likely you'll find like several hundred, like 200, 300, 400 listings. Okay. So you need to retrieve, you need to source, you need to download information about all of those listings. So let me show you how it looks like. Like if you go to Zillow.com, you can search for Murray, Kentucky. So if you don't set like any price points, look, you have 459 homes for sale, quite a bit of data. Okay. Jumping forward a little bit, please note that some of those data points, they're not very clean. For example, some of them are just lots. I'm not sure you need information about lots. You need information about houses, okay? So make sure it's only information about houses, okay? Now, how do you download it? I mean, you can always do it manually, although you understand it will be a lot of work to go manually through all those listings. And I've seen some students doing it manually, and I think those are the students who are not paying attention in class. I was explaining how to do it. They were chatting. They were not paying attention. So that's that's how it happens. Because I don't think it's a good idea to do it manually, right? It will take a lot of time, okay? And you will make a lot of errors. And it's also like one of those jobs that can easily burn you down mentally if you go through like 400 data points and enter it one by one. I mean, you'll start going crazy, okay? So instead, I suggest you use like a web scraping tool, okay? Now, there are a lot of web scraping tools out there. For example, R programming language, the one that I talked about during the first day of the class, has a library for scraping data, including web data. And in fact, I'm writing a paper about it with a colleague of mine. So you can use R. I mean, if you know Python, Python has all those scripts and libraries for scraping data as well. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of other tools, different tools for scraping data from the web. And some of those tools are very intuitive. They're like, point and click. They don't even require any kind of programming. Okay. Now let me show you one of those tools, and I'm going to show you like in a very rough way. You need to figure out the details. I mean, first of all, of course, you can you can search for web scraping tool or tools, and you'll get all kinds of outcomes. Now the first result is import.io. I've used this tool before. I know it works. It may require some fine tuning, but I know it works. So for example, what you can do, you can take this. Somehow you need to open this URL with listings. Let me see. I just want to make sure that those items are listed. There's like a way to open it somehow. Okay, but you see, like I think the downside here that this URL it opens like the first page, right? So if you do it this way, you'll have to do it one page at a time, and you have quite a bit of pages here, like 18 pages. So maybe there is a way somehow to crawl all of those pages without opening it one by one. There is a tool that can do that, I know for sure. But just to show you like how it works, so you got this URL. I think it should work. Then you just insert it here, and then it will grab this data for you, at least from this particular page. Okay, so you see it grabbed it somehow. So it figured out that you want this list. So it has, address. It cannot figure out what's the name of that value, but you can enter it here, right? And you can download it as a CSV file. Maybe you need to register for this service before you do that, okay? And then CSV file is is basically Excel file. But again, if you look at this data, you see it's not tidy, right? This data is not tidy. For example, address may be broken down to house number, apartment number, street name. Here you see like all those complexities, like the price is somehow mixed with the bedroom information. So you need to somehow split it in Excel, right? To make your data tidy, which means one variable per column, one observation per row. Like this variable seems to violate this tidy data requirement of one variable per column, because here you have one column and you have several variables inserted here somehow, okay? So yeah, experiment with it. There's another tool that I used before. Yeah, I think that one, Web Scraper. It's actually a Google Chrome plugin. And it really works like as an artificial intelligence system. So you install this plugin for Google Chrome, and then you need to train this robot how to go through a particular web structure. You need to show him like which nodes to, not him, but show it which nodes to follow. And once it learns it will do it automatically for you. For example, what it can do, it can come to this first page, download like separately bedroom, square footage, price. Then the robot will click in quotes on second page, go through the second page, then all the pages will be crawled like that, okay? So you can train that robot to go and crawl through the entire web structure, okay? Now that requires some reading and some knowledge. It's not easy to configure.
Did you say you wanted us to exclude lot names?
Yeah, I'm telling you that, but this could be like one of those things that you need to think about, right? I just kind of came up with this, on the fly. It seems to me if you include price of land, maybe you can keep this data, but it will really kind of mess your analysis, right? Because you're interested in housing prices. Because if you see at some of the questions, they really talk, the questions that you need to answer, they talk about houses. They don't talk about like land price or anything like that, right? So maybe don't discard it. Maybe you can put it like in a separate file, but probably for this assignment, you need to exclude it from your analysis, okay? And the other thing to think about, again, if you really want to make sure your data is clean, there are those fake listings, like for example, I've noticed like some people list auction. You know what I'm talking about? And typically, to me it looks like some kind of fraud, because they will list a house at half the price and people say, oh, that's a great deal. But then it says like auction, it means like it's a starting point at, for an auction or something like that. So maybe you may want to exclude those auction listings as well, because they will mess up your data set. Now there's no single answer, but sometimes I get assignments that are way off, right? If you tell me something, the average price of a house in Murray is, I don't know, $150,000, I find it believable. But if you tell me the average house price in Murray is $20,000 or $500,000, then I find it unbelievable. And sometimes people get those crazy numbers because, I guess their data set is not very clean, okay? So yeah, save it in an Excel sheet. Make sure the Excel sheet meets the tidy data requirements. Please make sure you save this file for later use in the course. You know, I told you that your assignment 10, the last assignment in this course, will be based on this data set. I will ask you to build a decision support system that will help a real estate agent price real estate in Murray, okay, using a regression model. So basically here, just tell me briefly that you've done and discuss it briefly. Tell me what you did. For example, you can say, well, I went to Trulia.com or Zillow.com and I use WebScraper.io website to download this Google Chrome plugin. I trained it to follow the entire structure, the entire web page structure of this listings for Murray, Kentucky, and that's how we downloaded the data set and so forth. Okay. Now, once you have, and I'm hoping maybe you can do it today. The first two steps. Once you're done with that, once you have your tidy data, use Excel to answer the following questions in relation to the data set. What is the average mean median price of a house in Murray? Okay. Now, average is a term that can include both mean, median, and mode. So use those formulas like median formula, average is the formula that calculates actual mean, right? What is the range of house prices in Murray? Now, again, strictly speaking, range is defined as largest value minus smallest value, right? So basically, probably you need to tell me like the cheapest house is X, the most expensive house is Y. So the range is Y minus X. It's, let's say, I don't know, $200,000, something like that. Okay. So here you need to answer that. What is the most expensive area of Murray based on housing prices? Please explain your answer. Look, the key here, you need to find a meaningful way to subset those houses, right? There's not a single way, a single right way to do it, but no matter what you do, it needs to be a formal way of doing it. In the past, some people write something like this, for this question. They're saying the most expensive real estate is near the lake. That's their answer, right? I mean, it's something that's like a subjective opinion, right? It's not data analysis, okay? Some people have like a formal approach. You know what they do? They are saying visually using the map, I subdivide houses into, I don't know, 4 quadrants. Let's say northwest Murray, northeast Murray, southeast, southwest, and lake area, or five quadrants, right? And then like they're saying manually, I mark those houses like which quadrant they belong to, and based on that, I'll calculate those the most values for the most. I calculate average value, average home value within this area, and that's how I come up with the most expensive and least expensive area, right? That's okay. I mean, it's a formal approach. Or maybe you can do it by street if you have enough data points. You can see like what is the most expensive street, what is the least expensive street, right? It's up to you how you do it, but it needs to be like a formalized approach, something that you can explain to others, right? It cannot be like an opinion, right? You cannot say like the cheapest housing is near Hibachi restaurant or something like that. I mean, it doesn't, it's not just like an opinion, your observation, right? It's not based on data. So once you answer those questions, import the data set from your Excel sheet into Microsoft Access table. I mean, it's an easy step, but this is something that requires you to get started with Microsoft Office, meaning I want to make sure that everybody has access to Microsoft Excel and Access before we start other assignments, okay? Now, let me know if you don't have access, because here we have DreamSpark arrangement, right? So if you don't have access, let's say at home or at work, if you don't have access to Microsoft Access or Excel, I can activate your DreamSpark account and you can download those products for free, and you can use it like for 1 year or so, okay? So let me know, I'll figure it out for you. But please don't use it like as an excuse. If you don't have access, then come to a lab and do this assignment in a lab, okay, in the meanwhile. But in the long run, you all need to figure out how to get access to it. Again, send me an email if you cannot get access. I'll work with our IT department to activate that DreamSpark Access for you, so you can go there and download those products, okay?
I believe they have Microsoft free on one of the Murray sites.
I'm a bit lost in all those versions. I know that if you're a student, you can download that Microsoft Office 365, right, for free. At least I downloaded it for my computer as a faculty. I just indicated that I'm a part of Murray State University. So that should work as well, okay? I'm very hesitant to say which version you need. I think all versions will work. Most of the things that I'll be explaining here, in the past it was 2013. Nowadays they have 2016 installed everywhere. So I guess I'll be using 2016. But the differences between 2016, 2013 and Microsoft Office 365, I think they're very small. I mean, very unnoticeable. Okay, so I don't think it matters which version you will use for this class. Okay, so yeah, you need to do that, and then once you have those files, you have your Excel sheet, you have your access table, and then you have this document. So all 3 files need to be saved in a zip folder, and then you submit that zip file as your assignment. Okay, just like one word, it's how to import or export Excel data into Access. I'm sure there are many ways to do it. One way to do it, let me show you quickly. So in Microsoft Access, there is that import feature. So you just start with a blank database, and then you go to external data, and you select, I want to import an Excel sheet or Excel table. And here you select which file you would like to import. This is my kind of dummy file. So I select this one, I press OK. And it will ask you, like, am I recognizing those variables correctly? So it's basically saying those are your variable names, those are your data rows. So you're saying, OK, that's fine, that's how it is. So you press Finish. And you see it imported data here. I mean, I have just like one row in my Excel sheet. Okay, so that's how you import into Access. Now, don't worry about variable types. This is something we'll talk about a bit later when we actually go into the subject matter of databases. Okay. So, any questions so far about assignment 2? Go ahead.
Do we have to be an online member of this class in order? Do we have to be taking this class online in order to access the recorded lectures?
No. You can. Everybody can access those recorded lectures. I'll show you once again where the link is. But any questions about assignment 2, like specifically?
When we say the access file, do we use the same format?
What do you mean same format?
The name?
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as it's like in one zip file, I'll figure it out. Yeah. Go ahead.
What's it do?
It's due on September 8th. But I'm trying to tell everybody that maybe there's no reason for you to wait until next week. Do it this week so that you can have a nice long break without worrying about this assignment. Okay? And I think it's quite doable. Okay?